Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at Return to Sleepaway Camp, released direct-to-video in 2008, even though it was filmed back in 2003. Why did it take 5 years to be released? Well, the filmmakers cite CGI problems, but not sure the end result was worth the wait. Return to Sleepaway Camp ignores parts 2 and 3 and is instead a direct sequel to the original film, probably since it was written and directed by Robert Hiltzik, the guy who made the original. Although Return has some of the same weird earnestness as that first movie, the cheap-looking production and pointless scenes of dialogue really expose how Hiltzik is still just a film student who never learned how to hone his art. It doesn't help that the central character is an obnoxious bully of a man-child either.
Everyone's always picking on me!
He's so annoying that nothing can make up for his inclusion, not even the return of some of the original cast members, nor a random cameo by Isaac Hayes. How many kills will we see before we shutter this summer camp for the off-season? Let's find out and get to them. The movie begins with opening credits reminding us what happened in the first movie, while a subpar rock band screams the film's title at us. We're introduced to our campers with flaming farts, which are pretty much always hilarious.
What are you dicks laughing at?
Flaming farts. I just said they're always hilarious. This brash, sweaty big boy is Alan, and unfortunately for us, he's this movie's main character. I hate how disgusting his shirt is always, and how he spends the whole movie screaming. I wish he would just shut up.
No, you shut up!
Hey, fuck you, it's my show. When Alan's flaming fart ends up more like a flaming shart, the other boys laugh at him until he goes all amateur arsonist on them. His pyrotechnics are stopped by Counselor Randy, but Alan is able to get away and drop his catchphrase on him,
Your ass stinks!
before piecing the fuck out of there. Since this is a sleepaway camp movie, you know we've got to kick things off with a camp meeting in a dining hall. Camp owner Frank introduces his Good Charlotte fan club looking campers to Sheriff Jerry, a police officer who speaks through a voice box.
Can you play Intergalactic on that thing? Maybe later.
Oh shit, is Sheriff Jerry licensed to ill? That dude's cool in my book. Alan and Randy get into an altercation over the shitty camp food until their fight is broken up by none other than Ronnie, played once again by Paul D'Angelo and his short shorts. Hey, even though the fight is over, why don't you drop your catchphrase on Randy again, Alan?
Your ass stinks!
No, it doesn't. Alan is such a weird character to me. He's both a bully and a kid who gets bullied by pretty much everyone at camp.
Move it, fatty fat fat!
That might be realistic in some kind of sociological sense, but it does not make for a fun main character to watch. He goes to the kitchen to get some better food and runs into Isaac Hayes as Charlie, the head chef. Yep, this movie has Isaac Hayes as a chef. Or the chef, as the credits proudly proclaim. Charlie leaves to go cash his cameo paycheck and puts this guy Mickey in charge, who immediately abuses Alan with ice cream and throws eggs at his already disgusting shirt. Things start to get out of hand right as the rest of the staff gets to the kitchen.
My God!
And after Frank yells at Alan, he runs away in a screamy, snotty mess all the way to his special place, which is what, some kind of froggy hangout spot?
They're my friends!
Alright, sure. Whatever makes you happy, kid. That night, we get a reimagining of the first movie's scene with the douchey cook, when Mickey is grabbed from behind and raised up over the deep fryer. The unseen assailant lifts him up until he's vertical, then drops him face first into the oil, deep frying his head extra crispy as the oil bubbles around him like a hot tub. Pretty decent effects on his face for a movie with this low a budget. And there's some solid blood coming from his body getting trash compacted too. Not bad. At one of Camp Manabee's social events in the rec hall, Alan gawks at Karen, the girl he likes, until he's called over to talk to her by this TC dude, whose actor studied at the Sean William Scott Acting Academy.
Yo, Alan, come here, buddy!
After striking out with Karen due to a peculiar egg smell about him, Alan gets sexually assaulted by another camper named Bella and that douchey TC guy, because this whole goddamn movie is just Alan getting into whiny arguments and then running away yelling his stupid catchphrase.
Your ass stinks!
Behind the theater stage, a couple of stoners roll a joint full of cow dung so they can epically prank someone, bro. The only fun fact I have for you here is that this one dude, whose character name is actually Weed, is played by Adam Wiley, who was the voice of that weird curly kid in Hey Arnold.
Here's Curly.
Oh! Good save, man.
The stoners get Alan to smoke their cow dung kush,
You gotta take big toes and hold it in, otherwise you're wasting it.
And his coughing leads him to a suggestive position on his knees, earning Alan a cruel new nickname from TC.
Blowjob.
Late that night, Weed is headed for a green out by the docks when this film's unseen hooded killer ties him to a chair and sticks a hose of gasoline down his throat. The killer pumps him full of gas and sticks a weed fuse in his mouth, and when that joint burns down, boom! That kid's friggin' eyes just exploded in fire. Awesome. And his body? Alright. At least the kills in this movie are all outrageous and mostly on screen. Weed's death gives Ronnie some Arawak flashbacks, and, suspecting that Angela might be behind it, he asks Sheriff Jerry to go talk to Angela's cousin Ricky, who's kept in touch with her all these years at the mental institute.
Maybe I'll do that.
The next day, we get a motherfucking Sleepaway Camp baseball scene. Hell yeah! And this one's even got some Thanksgiving-esque electronic music. Maybe we'll get another awesome insult like eat shit and live.
Hey, Bella, your ass stinks!
Or not. And dude, don't get excited about this weird night-to-day paintball sequence either, because that just ends up being another way to show Alan getting harassed all to hell by everyone else at the camp. Damn man, this kid is stuck in the ultimate positive feedback loop of negativity. One fun thing to watch though is this kid who eats shit at the end of his zip line. Oh my god, he ate so much shit. Following up on Ronnie's advice, Sheriff Jerry goes and finds Angela's cousin Ricky. Yo, and is that original Sleepaway Camp actor Jonathan Tiersten?
You know I am, so cut the shit.
You're right, I did know that. It's my job to know. Ricky says that Angela can't be behind anything because she's still locked up. But the rest of this conversation is pretty pointless, so I don't know, let's go hang out with frogs some more. Oh, no, not dead frogs. Nobody wants to hang out with dead frogs. Oh hey, two douchebags. Maybe they did this.
You did this? Shit, yeah.
Shit, yeah, they did. But why?
This is freaking cool, man.
Man, it's so hard to watch a movie where you hate every single person in every single scene. There's nothing to root for here. Except Ronnie and his shorts, I guess. Oh, and his triceps. Holy shit, man. That night at another social, more of the same old happens. Alan harasses people, Alan gets harassed, Alan screams your ass stinks. Eventually, the other campers, including a somewhat reluctant Karen, take things to an all-out frat level hazing when they strip Alan to his underwear and throw him on stage for everyone to laugh at. Alan is rescued from this nightmare by kind counselor Petey, but that just earns her an accusation from Ronnie that she's Angela in disguise. After the other campers surround the cabin that Alan's inside of and chant from the good book of blowjob, the bullied bully kinda snaps and runs away. Camp owner Frank watches it go, and later that night becomes the next person attacked after he's knocked unconscious with a hammer and awakens to find his head inside a birdcage. The birdcage isn't entirely random, because earlier we saw that he has a pet bird named Matilda who he really loves.
You be a good baby while Daddy's out, okay? Okay, my sweet Matilda?
The hooded killer puts some rats inside the cage, but I guess they couldn't afford to show this kill in action, since it happens via sound effects on a black screen. That evening, some of Camp Manabee's boy campers make plans to be stereotypes.
Yeah, man, we're going on a panty raid at the younger girls' bunk.
Oh, what? Panty raid sounds bad enough, guys. You really don't need to add in the younger girls' bunk. TC can't join in on the panty experience, though, because Ronnie's put him under cabin arrest for organizing the Allen hazing. A little later on, TC's plans for a wrist workout are interrupted by a sharpened spike from the floor that nearly gets him in the baby maker. Panty Viking Spaz returns from his adventures, and we get a humorously suspenseful scene as the two of them take turns putting their eyes up to the floor hole. Eventually, TC gets the spike in his eye for real, and his hilarious movements at first belie the gruesome finish to this kill, where the stake is driven through his head entirely. Oh, Spaz no likey. While their campers are getting killed, abusive counselors Randy and Linda drive to an isolated spot so they can arrow whack each other off. Randy goes for a pee in the woods when he gets tied against a tree, and his mid-piss capture leaves him vulnerable to a real painful situation, even if it's never shown explicitly, because obviously. I guess it's kinda like the Judy kill in that regard. The fishing line around Randy's equipment is tied to the back of his Jeep, and after Linda gets scared from hearing Randy's yelling,
Oh shit! He's coming after me!
she hops in the Jeep and gets the headlights a-glowing so she can floor it, sometimes in fast motion. The very long fishing line eventually grows taut and does the deed, mutilating Randy as his screams echo through the woods. As for Linda, she speeds her way straight into some strung up barbed wire that wraps around her head and causes her to crash the Jeep. Back at camp, Ronnie and another counselor, Jenny, find the gory remnants of Frank and some avian evidence that the killer might have been Alan. If only they could have figured something out before Bella got into bed, because it turns out she's in a bunk bed of nails, and the street artist looking killer up there is eager to hop on down and kill her in a quick, but honestly, kind of inventive kill. News of the most recent kills spreads through the camp quickly, and although everyone's got their own theories as to who the killer is, the important thing is that we get this scene from the not professional actors playing Ronnie and Ricky.
Is that Ricky? Ronnie? What the hell are you doing here? I was gonna ask you the same thing.
I'm so glad the two of them came back 20 years later to do a sequel. It's a real treat, especially when Ricky awkwardly walks towards Jenny at the end of that scene. He's walking like a stalker and she looks terrified. After finding Bella's body in the girls' cabin, Karen runs into the woods and comes across a couple of kills to square up our count. First she finds Randy moaning against a tree, and although he's still moaning when she leaves, I'll put him on the list now because I'm assuming that he bled to death. Then Karen finds Linda in the driver's seat of the Jeep, her head all wrapped up in barbed wire. Again, Linda's still kind of moving when Karen bails, but we'll count her all the same, it's fine. When Karen runs into the killer, she comically faints and awakens to find herself tied to a motorized basketball hoop in the rec hall. The killer activates it and it starts to hang her, but Alan's stepbrother Michael, who was like kind of a character but not really, runs inside and saves the damsel in distress. Convinced that it was Alan, he grabs a croquet mallet and heads to Alan's toad abode, where he uses that mallet to split open his stepbrother's cheek, and also, like, beat him a whole bunch. The beating is stopped by an unseen figure, and stepbrother Michael is later found skinned alive. Just like with Randy and Linda, Michael's still technically alive the last time we see him, but I'm counting him as a goner anyway. And who was behind this stepbrother scalping? The same person who's been behind all the killing, Sheriff Jerry, who walks up shedding body parts and monologuing with his voice box.
I've been waiting a long time for this.
Before revealing that this whole time, he's actually been Angela.
I knew it was you.
No, you didn't, dude. You said it was that Petey chick. Also, hey Ricky, what would it sound like if Angela was the lyric in a metal song?
Angela!
Nice, dude. No wonder Jonathan Tiersten became a musician. Anyway, we finally get Felissa Rose back, reprising her role as Angela Baker. The makeup effects to turn her into Sheriff Jerry took 4 hours to apply and involved giving her a fake nose, fake teeth, fake facial hair, and a whole lot of airbrushing. But of course, Felissa always kept her spirits up because, like I said, she's the frickin' best. The movie ends with Angela laughing maniacally, but denying the audience another freeze-frame ending. Oh wait, there is a post-credits scene. It takes place 3 weeks earlier than the rest of the movie and shows how Angela, after somehow escaping the mental institute, got the real Sheriff Jerry to crawl under her car, which allowed her to kill him with a gnarly head crush so she could assume his identity going forward. Great work, Angela. How many people did Felissa Rose kill in her return to the series? Let's find out and get to the numbers. 9 people died in Return to Sleepaway Camp, the lowest number of the series. The victims consisted of 7 men and only 2 women, much less even than parts 2 and 3, and with a runtime of 86 minutes, that left us with a kill on average every 9.56 minutes. I'll give the golden chainsaw for coolest kill to Bella. I'll admit that most of the other kills had more graphic effects, but I love the creativity involved with this one. Seems like something I would have dreamt up as a young horror fan. Doll Machete for lamest kill is a tough one, because all of these kills have something interesting about them. But I guess I'll give it to Frank since it's mostly done off screen and the only thing we see is the body after the fact. And that's it. Return to Sleepaway Camp was filmed in 2003 but not released until 2008, and to date it is the latest film in the series. Next week we're going into the water with Jaws, but until then I'm James A. Janice. This has been The Kill Count. Thanks a lot for watching this week's Kill Count. I want to thank some patrons like David Pence, Charles Schoonover, Olatunji Nuga, George Hess, Nathan Ford, and Tyria Simone Carr. 4 movies? Great number for a franchise. It's like just when I'm getting sick of it, I'm done with it. One last reminder, the first ever Dead Meat live show is next weekend at RTX on Sunday, July 7th. Be good people.